So thank you so much for having me, and good afternoon, everyone. So a friend that I came with from Nigeria actually saw this program online, and he just felt like this is something I would love to participate in, because all the things you have said, from I myself am coming from your Wazan. In 2014, I think we made the headlines for the bad reason. Over 200 girls were abducted in schools in Chibok, and Chibok is just less than 40 away kilometers from where I live today. Since their abduction, we were being constantly threatened by constant attack by the Boko Haram terrorist group. We had no choice. In July 2014, we had to leave our comfort zone to take shelter in the state capital. The state capital itself, it wasn't that safe, but at least it was better than our LGS that are being taken over by the Boko Haram insurgents. So just to tell you that, I was myself an internally displaced person. I have been through I have been through all the struggles that comes with being a displaced person, struggles, the mental health related to you leaving your comfort zone. And it will interest you to know that as a kid, I went to nearly 7 schools before completing secondary school. And that is not because I wanted to, but because of my region is a humanitarian settings. Today you are in this school this community is being attacked. You no longer feel safe. Tomorrow you will go to another school. That's how I almost go to 6 schools before completing senior secondary school, which was the basic. So I have been through a lot myself, and then the situation in Nigeria, okay. So I actually started my organization when I was just 19. Yeah. And it will interest you to know that outside the conflict, I also experienced forced marriage. Wow. That was before the age of 17. So all the displacement, the forced marriage, all the experiences that comes with being in a conflict setting with terrorist group and race, I've experienced all that before the age of 18. So I had been through all these challenges as a child, and when I was able to get myself over, I said, no, this shouldn't happen to another girl again. So that was how I come up with my organization. That's the Never Be Gay Child and the Women Initiative Support. And since 2018 till date, we're being supported by Malala Fund and the other international organizations who have interest in education. And we don't only work on education, we also work around women economic empowerment, financial inclusion, financial independence, and protection of children that are associated with armed groups. So in my country right now, the northern parts of Nigeria where I'm coming from, terrorist groups are using abduction as a weapon of war. They are abducting children, including girls and boys, from school, as a means of negotiating their ways of getting the government giving them funds before releasing the children, or as a means of getting government release one of a terrorist gang that the government arrested as an exchange for those girls and children to be released. So we always have constant displacement. If it is not happening in Borno, which is the northeastern part of the Nigeria where I came from, it is happening in Zamfara or Katsina in the northwest. So displacement everything and there. And then coming to the issue that my sister raised, in terms of people going with their pre-assumed programs and telling people to buy into it. For instance, over so many billions of dollars has been spent from 2012 till date in the northeastern Nigerian crisis for humanitarian response. And in the name of livelihood skills, empowerment, women and girls empowerment, but most of the things that are being done are predetermined designed programs. And because of that, when they are done teaching the girls some of these things, they don't know how to make money out of it. For instance, you come and tell me that, okay, you come and teach me how to produce this water. In this 21st century, this is 2015, 2025, you didn't teach me how to brand it. You didn't teach me how I can be able to package it. You don't create business-to-business linkages between me and the stakeholders within the value chain. So for that, most often, we keep spending money, humanitarian response money, for doing the wrong things. And by the time it is in the headline that women and girls, so amount of money has been released for humanitarian response in Nigeria. But these are not programs that are being designed along with the kids. There were no co-creation of the programs designed at any stage. So we keep spending money for the wrong reason. So in my organization, we enroll girls to school. We advocate and employ these policies in favor of women, children, and the young people. But trust me, just like any other country, it wasn't easy. In my region, for you to go to school, say the title Boko Haram insurgency, the title Boko Haram simply means that Western education is forbidden. So girls or young women like me are not finding it easy, having our voices count, having our voices heard in our own regions. In fact, we have more voice when we let our own region to the international platforms than our voice is being heard and considered by leaders to act in our own countries. So it is not that easy, but we keep it rolling.
Yeah, I think all of us going through so much challenges, and there is too much trauma, issues that we have to work in common. But what do you think the solution, Dr. Aminata? How can we uplift that energy and strength that we have to become the better women leaders?
I think it was something aligns with what Ambassador Malik was saying, in terms of Africa. We must build Africa as Africans, right? We cannot continue to wait on the West, on the United States, on the Europeans to come and develop what needs to be developed. I always say this, Africa, we're not underdeveloped, we're not a minority, we are an exploited continent and an exploited group of people, right? And so with that then, if we know these things that we're experiencing, especially in terms of the psychological sort of implications of war, of displacement, trauma, gender-based violence, then we must find ways to build supports, because no one will understand you as a people more than how you yourself understand yourselves as an African people. You know, they can try with their education, with their knowledge and all of that, but it is we who know who we are, our cultures, our values, our beliefs, and then sort of like the collective culture we come from. So start from that and providing from, that's what I'm saying, if it's from a village, creating support groups, right? Psychosocial groups, where in what, at least in Sierra Leone where I come from, and within the village you have like the leader, the chief leader, who then, you know, with then surrounding villages, and then you come together when there are issues, they talk about it, you know, things of that sort. And then, so from that level then, it has to go then to that government, you know, African government. The West cannot come and tell our president what to do. Our presidents in Africa must recognize what needs to be done for their people, right? And it's almost not almost, it's shameful. You know, it's very shameful. It's very painful when you hear the things that we experience as a people, and that we have the capacity, we have the resources, we have the things to really get things going. But guess what? We just, for some way, some reason, become selfish, or the government officials, I would want to say, become selfish and don't do and provide what's necessary for the individuals, and especially it is the women and girls who suffer at the ends of, you know, this sort of like selfishness. So I think, one, providing education, but starting in like smaller like cell groups, right? Smaller cell groups within communities, within villages, and then building up there in Sierra Leone, we have like districts, I know Nigeria is by states, you know, so like you build up, you know, gradually from one level to the next, to the next, to the next, until it becomes sort of like this on a more national level. And then from there, we have to create then, in America, here we have the American Psychological Association. So perhaps we need to create something on that level, but for African, nations as well, where then we understand, yes, I'm Sierra Leonean, she's Nigerian, you're South Sudanese, Ivorian. No, but everyone.
I'm all of them.
Okay, well, but you know what I mean? So it's like,
She's African.
you're African, right? So as one, you know, we're Africans as
African,
one,
yes,
right?
yes,
But
we're
then,
African.
thank you, we're Africans as one. But if we're to go to each nation, right, we have different ways of values and how we perceive, how we communicate. You understand? And so those little intricacies would have to be included to sort of then create something. Because again, like what she was saying, Doctor was saying, we cannot just create groups and implement programs that are just generalized. They have to be individualized, right? Because even you go to therapy here, you create a one-on-one treatment plan with your therapist, right? They're not saying, oh, what I did with Jane is what I'm going to do with Sarah. It's like, because how Sarah may be experiencing depression is different from how Jane is experiencing depression, and what treatment goals that, you know, they want to achieve will be different from, you know, the next person. So everything should be individualized, but there should be sort of like a foundational, I think that's the word today, foundational knowledge, foundational awareness, everything sort of like where we can then build right upon, from, yeah.
That's wonderful.
That's right. Mary,
So my sister, just to
if I may, because I agree with you completely, and just to partner with what you said and shadow mirror what you said. My name is Nicole. I'm the Director of Community Affairs here at the Church of Scientology, New York, and we've sponsored with our humanitarian program, Youth for Human Rights International, because it is such a big deal. Mental health is a crisis, and you're right, especially in a situation where we have war-torn injustices and abuses of human rights. Of course, there's going to be a mental health crisis. And one of the biggest reasons why we're here and why we wanted to sponsor this event is because we do have technology, and it starts with us. It starts with an understanding of our humanity. It starts with an understanding of basic human rights as a need. And because of that, the founder of this organization, Mr. L. Ron Hubbard, he discovered for thousands of years, we've been searching and searching, what is mental health? How does one heal from the past trauma? How does one heal from the difficulties, the injustices, the abuses, the rapes, the cruelty that people experience, and unfortunately, especially in these areas that we've just talked about. And that is the science of the mind that he discovered. And it is free to everyone, no matter, especially because there's such a lack of resources. This is something that you can use to heal yourself. You can heal your friend, you can heal your family, you can heal your community, and it is for the individual. It's called Dianetics, the modern science of mental health. Doesn't matter if you have access to, a building, or if you only have your own 2 feet and the dirt you're sitting on. This is something that you can use. So I'm happy to give you guys the information after, because I firmly believe in your message. People do need access,
Yeah, I want to add, that's very good. I want to add, so an important component to that would be what's really lacking, I think, in terms is the research, the literature, in terms of mental health, right? We don't know the numbers of how many people suffer from depression across the continent. There's some research, South Africa, some Nigeria, right? But across continent-wide, the research is really lacking. And so if the research with psychology, I know because some people do not want to believe that psychology is, science-driven, right, sort of field, but it is, because then it's from the science and the research that then we develop interventions, right? And then so in order to then develop and implement interventions, the research has to be done within African population groups. So then those interventions are things that will be applicable towards, or can be implemented, within those groups, because we can't not per se use Western modalities of treatments and interventions and then go, oh, here I am from New York, I'm gonna go to Senegal and start doing CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, without having sort of, some research, knowledge of how can I apply CBT in a way that's culturally sensitive, to this group in Senegal, you understand? So the research is important, like she just said, so that would have to also be inclusive in terms of that.
Thank you so much. My sister, what is the way, like, how can we empower the other women like you who have been facing and going through these challenges?
Okay, I think there are so many ways. Like I told you, Northern Nigeria, where I'm coming from, is a very conservative and culturally sensitive communities right now. They affect my lights are people that they said we talk so loud, you understand? We're being Western, we are being tagged as Western agents and so many other things simply because we refuse to be silent. We refuse to be, we ensure that our voices count. At least if you didn't bring us to the table, we are a Gen Z, we can be able to have access to internet and we're going to say our opinions using social media handles, effective use of social media handles and rest. But right now, what I intend to do, which I met our Minister of Women Affairs in the morning, and she was like, Aisha, I wanted to have 1 million of Aishas in Nigeria. But I told her, well, if the political will is there, you can be able to have it. Why not? Okay, for instance, currently with funding from Malala Fund, one of the key things that one of the key strategies that we're trying to do to ensure that girls in conflict-affected settings have their voices heard is that we work in schools, and in those schools, we create a gender and menstrual hygiene management club, for instance, as an entry point. And we design a curriculum, and in those curriculums are issues that discuss those girls' rights, their right to education, their right to equal access to opportunities, and so many things that they could be able to learn in those clubs. And we recruited instructors, and we trained the instructors using some of the guides that we developed. And those instructors every week, they meet with these girls once a week to discuss topics after topics using the guides that we developed. And now, every time government goes to school, for instance, in an inspection, they see a government or any stakeholder, they're going to say, see, while we appreciate you giving us food, we want access to menstrual hygiene product in school. If our school doesn't have water, we cannot be able to remain in school to complete 12 years of quality education. These are things that the government have not foresee it coming. We were able to instill that in the girls. And through that strategy, we are catching them young, and they will continue to grow up. So of course, whether the minister said she wanted to have 1 million Aishas in Nigeria by next year, whether she said it or not, the 1 million Aishas will going to emerge, because people like Aisha and other young girls that refuse to be silenced are organizing, and I think that community organizing is what we need. Community organizing is what we need in the sense that, okay, for those one, we're empowering them to advocate at the school level. So we need young people in African countries. We need to reorganize ourselves. We need to kind of demand for participatory democracy, citizen-driven, inclusive, and participatory governance, where leaders does not sit down to design or just to adapt some Western policies to implement it. For instance, currently, if you look at how the current Nigerian government is running the entire administration, most of their economic indices, you understand, they use World Bank, IMF to design programs. But World Bank and IMF are not designed for the Nigerian people. They are not designed to suit our own context. But it is being reinforced on us. We are suffering. They are telling us things will get better, and things is not getting any better, not anytime soon. Maybe the children that will come, the children that we're going to give birth to in the next 10 years, maybe they are going to be the one to benefit from some of these policies, not us. So what we wanted is that I think in Africa, we need young people to organize ourselves. We need community organizing. We need to tell ourselves how can we be able to like kind of ensure that we are not only passive participants. We should be able to active participate in things that has to do with our life, our environment, and ensure that we buy in the ownership of our own issues and propose solutions to them using our context-specific strategies and what we felt going to work for our own context and regions.
Okay, great, wonderful. You know, Dr. Andres, this morning I met our Ministry of Gender and Youth in South Sudan, and I told her about the program. So she was telling me, tell me where is the money is coming from. I tell her, where do you get the money and how I can get money for more girls to go to school. I tell her I really don't know. It's still a challenge for me because all those women in the refugee camps, they have their needs, they have their demands, they're always asking for funding. So what do you think the solution, Dr. Andres?
Collaboration.
Powerful thing.
Because if you not collaborate, you cannot make it by yourself. And I'm a true believer in African concept. We say, if you want to go far, you have to with another person. The one game, since I was little, I love is relay. I like to run. If you really want to run 10 miles, I will not have the capacity to run 10 miles. But if she won 1 mile, I give the baton to her, she passes, we will, as a group, reach that 10 miles. Most of the time, African people doesn't know how to do that. We are selfish.
Yes, yes.
By being selfish, we stop ourselves to progress. IPPDR, like Miles can tell you, every 6 months, we train. I believe in education. There have nobody in my group who telling you I'm teaching human rights will not come in to teach, learn how to teach human rights with us before we give you. First, we send you I don't see the kit here, the educational kit. The educational kit, we send it to you. When you understand the human rights education, because you have to understand what you're going to do. To make the change, you must understand the change. And you must do the change within you first. That's the way we focus on education. Everything. Because I don't know who you are. Ambassador Malik can tell me this, can say the same thing. If you know your right, there's nothing you cannot fight on.
Come on now.
Yes, yes.
That's why I challenge anyone. First, it can be in any group. So you know something? We're going to back to the basic. I'm going to teach you human rights. And from one article to another, we progress. Which article will talk about the right to have a job? And now we explain to you what a job is. The job is not working with somebody. A job is self-sufficient. What I can do to provide money to sustain myself and my family. It is a right. What I can do to build a house, it is a right. It's right there. Nobody knows. When you ask for migration, you say, I'm going to another country, and the government will tell you no. How you fight with the government to show them, I'm from Sudan, or I'm from Burkina, I'm from the Cameroon, I'm from DRC Congo. Based on your country who signed for that, I have the right for you to accept me. Did you show them that? We don't. But we just tell them it's my right. And what capacity is your right? The education part. Diplomacy and health. The right to have good health. It is a human right.
Yeah.
Right. That's right.
Can we show that? As I said, I tell people, I don't do anything else. Then go to the basic. I can sit with any president. Based on your country, I'm going back to the basic. If you don't believe in the basic, we cannot continue. If you don't know that's my right to learn how to sustain myself, to get a decent job, decent pay, to have a good health, to have a place to stay, to have a good education, to have a house to be under a roof. How I can make that progress? On the camp, if everyone knows their rights, they will not just punch you on the bumpers. They say, okay, these people, they have been through. The psychology part. I'm a psychologist. Yes, I'm a behavior psychologist. But I use it based on that. How I can use it to show the government, to say the governor, to go to a president to say, the reason you have those problems is because. And I am so happy. They have one president right now in Africa who understands the assignment. Abraham Jones.
Yes.
He understood the assignment. You know why? He come here. He spent 6 months training. He went to Europe. He got 6 months training. He went civil society with him. He said, what can I do for Africa? I said, Africa is you. Go back to see what your people need and make a revolution based on your need. Basic human rights. You may not understand if it's practical human rights. I can guarantee you next year. And right now, he want people, he said, not the human right you want to change, based your interests. The actual human right where everyone have the right to live and prosper. My right to have a job, my right to have an education is my basic of living. What make me who I am, a human.
That's really powerful, Dr. Rami, because anyone like you who builds like this big institution to do research and human rights, and you're teaching people diplomacy. And I think that we can have this another conversation to know more about your personal story and how you can make it. Because a lot of us now, as young girls here, they want to do the same thing and follow your footsteps.
Yeah. I do training every six months, and after that I put them as a regional. I don't know if you see that in Kenya. That's the first time the human rights almost got protests, but it's the first time the government called us to teach human rights. That's never done in Kenya. Even the UN who's in Kenya cannot do it. But right now, the right to get an ID card for youth, we just launched a campaign. Yeti card is a way for the youth to get ID. That's the way. Not even they can vote. Also, they can open a bank account. They can be entrepreneur. Without the ID, you cannot do nothing. We just launched that campaign, Yeti campaign in Kenya. And we're going to strive to move it forward in every other places. It's the way we attack. If we keep attacking the government, they're not going to help you. People use human rights as an attack instead to use as a tool to help the government. Do not, like I said, if you attack group, you cannot go with us because we train our people. We use this is the material, and I'm so grateful. I tell people I used to carry them. Now they ship them for me. I'm so grateful for the church. Before we send them, the youth register. We train them for 2 hours the last Saturday of every month. That's when the book has a 6-month program. We send you the book. We train you on diplomacy, human rights, negotiation, peace building, and the UN system, your country system. Because you need to know your country to be able to make that change. You cannot change something you don't understand. And from that, we create regional director. From the regional director now, is their job to teach the youth and their community without no violence. We do much without no violence. We went in France, we do much. They say that we cannot do that, we did. We went to Togo, we do much, we did. We put the street because they have a way to advance it, to show the government, we need to help you. We're not here against you. Because we've been teaching it the wrong way. People doesn't understand it. And I can tell you, I don't care. The UN can close my bags right now. Even the UN who put it 75 years, if you understand the complex of human rights, until now, after 75 years, we're still fighting for human rights. It doesn't make no sense, right? Let's go back to basic. What's the purpose of the human rights? It's a tool. stood for everything. There's some people say the Bible and the Quran. I guarantee you, I can show you all the article in your Quran who apply to human rights, all of them in your Torah who apply to human rights, and all of them in your Bible who apply to human rights.
Absolutely.
That's
Yes.
wonderful. Thank you so much. I think that was a wonderful panel. We all come together, we share, we have so much rich information. We talk about the challenges and the way forward, the way for us to collaborate, learn and get education by basic. And this is also related to our main topic, like get education in the conflict area. I would like to thank you so much to our panelists.
We thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Make sure you